What's going on, everyone? So, Austin Reaves. Now, look, personally, I have said repeatedly that I think Austin Reaves is best off the bench this year. I love Austin Reaves. I was hyping up Austin Reaves like he was the second coming of Michael Jordan going into this season. And unfortunately, this year, he just hasn't lived up to the hype and expectations and what we expected based on what we saw last season. Now, could be a multitude of reasons, right? Could be just the pecking order of the season with D'Angelo Russell having this huge emergence, right, and having a historically great season for the Lakers. It could be just fatigue because of all the basketball he played, playing all those minutes, going from, the regular season to the playoffs, that deep playoff run into the conference finals, and then leading into Team USA, and then immediately into training camp and preseason and all that stuff. So it's very possible he just has tired legs this year, and that could be a real issue. Now, Austin Reaves has been great in some areas, but he's not what we expected given what he did last year. And it's fine, right? He still, I believe, has a ton of value. I still believe wholeheartedly that he can have a bigger impact. I just think considering the starting unit, right? I just think he makes the most sense as the piece off the bench. Now, you could make the argument for Rui Hachimura, but Rui has played so well and has adjusted and evolved into this role as this off-ball 3-and-D guy playing out of position, and his confidence is high, and he's just playing at this high elite level right now that I just think you keep him in the starting unit, you continue to reward him, you continue to keep him and his spirits high and not him feeling like he's being punished going to the bench for something. Where Austin Reaves, one, I think would be more understanding, he'd be more accepting, he'd get it, he's got it, okay, good. You could insert a Spencer Dinwiddie. You could insert a Jared Vanderbilt if he returns, right? You could go multitude of ways with that two guard. And then Austin Reaves gets to go to the bench and do what he does best, which is just basically be the primary scorer off the bench. Now, another big factor with Austin Reaves this season is it's not so much his attacking and getting into the teeth of the defense and finishing and drawing contact and stuff. He's still been good at that. He's shooting nearly 50% from 2-point range and from the floor, but his problem has been 3-point shooting and playing off ball this year. He just hasn't been great in that capacity. Even in the last 10 games, right? If you look at his last 10 games, last 10 games is shooting under 26%, 25.4% from 3-point range in his last 10 games. And this has been a trend all year. I mean, he had a quarter of the season before he went to the bench. Because remember, he went to the bench for 25 games. He had this stretch where he went to the bench, or before he went to the bench, where he was shooting under 30%. It was abysmal. He's shooting 28% from 3-point range, right? And then he went to the bench and immediately shot up, and he was shooting nearly 40%. This season, in the 25 games in which he has played, he's shooting 39.5% from 3-point range off the bench, right? So he's shooting nearly 40% off the bench, and that has helped. And then he's had these stretches, right? You'll see he'll have again, his last 10 games, he's 25%. And then he'll have a stretch of 10 games where he's 40% or 43%. And it's just kind of averaged out to this season where he's shooting around 36%, which is basically just league average. He's just been shooting league average. And one of the things that was so great about him was his 40+% 3-point shooting last year. And because he can't hit the 3 ball, it's affecting everything else, right? Because now he's limited. Teams know, and there's so many times if you watch these games, teams are just letting him shoot. Or he's taking this deep 3, and yeah, he'll hit it on occasion. And to his credit, he has still hit big shots in big moments throughout the course of the season. But to me, for Austin Reaves, it's about the minutes, not whether he starts or comes off the bench. And if Reaves is killing it, then you can close with him still. You don't need Austin Reaves to start outside of just vanity metric, right? There's nothing wrong with him being the 6th man coming off the bench and helping bolster our bench unit. our starting unit has been historically great offensively this season, right? They've been fantastic, right? Primarily because Rui Hachimura is shooting nearly 42% from three. LeBron James is shooting nearly 42% from three. D'Angelo Russell is shooting 32% from three. And then you have Austin Reaves who can be that slasher, be that attacker. You got multiple ball handlers. You got constant movement and action. But Austin Reaves hasn't been that three-point threat that we need, right? To me, if you could get, say, a Spencer Dinwiddie or a Gabe Vincent now that he's back, right? Get you a real point of attack guy. Put him in the starting unit to pair alongside LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, Anthony Davis, and D'Angelo Russell. Now, I think you'd be more improved defensively. Hopefully, Gabe Vincent come around and shooting the three ball. He could still run a lot of the same actions that you have Austin Reaves doing, or you could go with Spencer Dinwiddie if you want some more size, 6'6" size, right? And still, I think you'd have just as good of a starting offense, but I think you'd be slightly better defensively. Now, to Austin Reaves' credit, because he does deserve credit in this regard, he has been much improved on the defensive side the last 10 games, so it's actually been a little longer. But I've praised him and talked heavily about him. Again, I love Austin Reaves, but I just think based on what we've seen this year, he has shown he is best in that sixth-man role. He's averaging nearly 15, 5, and 5 off the bench on 50-40 splits, and it's because he's going up against bench units, right? And defensively, he's been better in the backup, sixth-man role. Why? Because he's defending bench guys. He's being defended by bench guys, and he gets to play the role as the primary scorer. Instead of them kind of having this weird balance with him where he's got to kind of try to play make and he's got to kind of try to hit shots and he's constantly in and out of rhythm and stuff no, instead of that, move him to the bench, put a more versatile guy into the starting unit, run, let's say you put Spencer Dinwiddie in the starting unit at the 2, right? Now you could have Gabe Vincent with Austin Reaves, and then you could go, Cam Reddish or Taurean Prince or whomever, however you want to structure it, right? But now Austin Reaves paired with Gabe Vincent, you got that point of attack guy that can help offset some of the things with Austin Reaves. Austin Reaves with his improved defense can now also help on that side of the ball, now going up against bench units, but also you can have him go, hey, Reaves, when you're in the game and D'Lo and everybody's sitting on the bench, let's go. It's time, right? Let's get it. And now you could allow Austin Reaves to be what he was last year, which was that in attack mode, constantly looking for his shot and finding it. Now he can get in a rhythm better. He can go and, create the contact. And instead of, again, trying to find that balance of, okay, I need to make plays here and okay, I need to hit some shots, and now I'm the primary playmaker. Instead of doing all of that, that hasn't worked well for him this season. It hasn't. The numbers back it up. The eye test backs it up. However you want to debate it, it backs it up. Right? Again, I've had people try to challenge me on it, and yet it keeps happening. Right? And I get it. We want Austin Reaves to be great. Right? But he just hasn't been this season. And again, I don't know what it is. It could just be he is this guy, right? We've seen plenty of guys have historically great runs and seasons, right? You look at guys like Michael Carter-Williams, right? Dude, the guy was looked at as he was going to be the next great point guard, and he was going to be this, that, and the other. And, he's averaging nearly a triple-double, and where is he now, right? Chandler Parsons is a great example. He had a great run in the postseason, got an absolute bag. And so much so, he makes fun of it, that they were foolish enough to give him that bag, all because he had a great run. And he was out of the league before his contract was up. Now, I'm not saying Austin Reaves is going to be that bad. He's still been good this season. He hasn't been as bad as some people try to make him out to be, but he also hasn't been what people try to hype him up to be. He's been a role guy. He's been your 4th or 5th best player this season, right? So instead of having him be that, have him be that off the bench, which would help our bench production, which is struggling mightily. You inject some defense, right? You get some more point of attack, which when you get to the playoffs, you're going to need. One of my big concerns is, yes, this offense has been historically great. But we've seen against Denver, Phoenix, Sacramento, multiple of these high-powered offensive teams, we can't stop anybody. So if they keep up offensively with us, we don't have the defense to slow them down. And then if we hit this just stretch, even a small stretch, where we can't score the basketball, we can't stop them. So they continue to score and we get in these holes. Where to me, I'd rather see a nice, better balanced starting unit and bench unit. And Austin Reaves gets to be in his best position, in his best self, and gets to be what he is best at, which is on ball as the shooting guard, looking to shoot and score. To me, it's a simple formula. But we keep seeing Austin Reaves game after game after game have these struggles. It's in the last 10 games. You're not talking, the Lakers are 8-2 in their last 11 games. If you extend it to the last 15 games, he's shooting like 27%, 28%, right? So again, it's not like it's a 2 or 3 game sample size where he's just been struggling. No, you're talking like literally a quarter of the season this year. He has shot atrocious, right? And then he has like another quarter where he's like okay. And then he has like another quarter where he's like really good. You know, you're talking like 25 games. And then he has another quarter where he's like kind of that in between, like where he's like, he's great. Like he's, 5 of 6 from 3 or whatever, right? And it's kind of all balanced out to him being league average. But he keeps having these extended stretches where he just really struggles to shoot the basketball. And you can offset those struggles when he's coming off the bench, primarily playing against bench units. And I think he would shoot better. And I think he'd play better. And the numbers back it up. Everything backs it up. So I don't know why we haven't done this yet. I don't know why we're not looking to do this. And problem is, I don't believe Darvin Ham is going to do it, but I do think it's something that needs to be done at this point. We've tried the starting unit thing. We've tried him in the starting unit. And yes, I get it. The Lakers have been cruising so far. But what does it look like in the postseason? What does it look like when we start going up against elite offenses game in and game out? And we can't defend anybody. And Austin Reaves, if he has his struggles, I know a lot of people believe Austin Reaves is going to be great. And I hope he is. I hope Austin Reaves is exactly what he was in last year's playoffs. Believe me, I say it all the time. I'm not here to root for people's failures or anything like that. I want Austin Reaves to be great, right? I want to be able to hype up Austin Reaves. I don't want to have to talk about Austin Reaves going to the bench because I want Austin Reaves to be so good. There's no argument other than for him to start. But he hasn't been that this year. And we're going off a reputation from last year. We don't have, again, it's not a full enough sample size, not a multi-year sample size. We've seen guys be great for a season and never be able to replicate that, right? This Austin Reaves we're seeing this year might just be who he is, which isn't a bad player. Again, he's not bad. He's just not what we're hyping him up. We're hyping him up like he's this star. Like, man, he's this all-star level player, and he's just not. So to me, instead of putting the expectation on him, understand and realize what he is this year. If next year he gets back to being all-star Austin Reaves, then great. Then we'll talk about that next year. And then he can be in the starting lineup if we haven't traded him for a star or whatever. But, again, we can only go off of this season. And we have this myth of a player, the legend of Austin Reaves that he built last season, which was spectacular, but he hasn't been that this year. And we're assuming he's going to get back to that come the playoffs because we saw him again last year do it. Last year is last year. This year is this year. Next year is next year. We don't know what he'll be next year, so we can't project that. We don't know. It doesn't matter what he was last year because last year's already came and went. What is he right now this year? And right now in the last basically 20 games, he's been a 30% three-point shooter, and he hasn't been great. He's been better defensively, yes, but he's had his struggles. Think you move him to the bench, personally. But as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think, time to move Austin Reaves to the bench? You love him. He's great, but he'd be best off the bench at this point. Do you think, no, keep him in the starting unit? I do understand not wanting to ruin continuity and chemistry and stuff. Like, the starting five has built that, but we've seen Spencer in the starting unit and play great with everybody when, LeBron or whoever isn't playing there, right? Like, I don't think that it's going to be an issue. I don't think it's going to be a problem. At worst, I think it'll be exactly what it is now, but the bench will be better because you have Austin Reaves. And I think at best case scenario, we're better defensively in the same level, if not better offensively, because maybe, if you put in a Gabe Vincent or you put in a Spencer Dinwiddie, maybe they can shoot better than Austin Reaves has lately. It's been primarily Austin Reaves shooting that has been a real concern. Outside of the D, he's been bad defensively all season, but this last, like I said, 15, 20 games, he's been really good defensively. But anyway, again, let me know how you feel down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me to enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.